Trump has a gay whisperer mentor who helped him from the start. Matt Tyrnauer is on a roll. Following the success of his 2018 documentary Studio 54 and Scotty and the Secret History of Hollywood, Tyrnauer premiered his latest film, Where's My Roy Cohn, at the Sundance Film Festival. This powerful documentary delves into the life of Roy Cohn, a controversial figure who rose to the prominence during the Red Scare as Joe McCarthy's right-hand man. Cohn later became a fixture in New York society, representing organized crime figures and befriending political heavyweights like Richard Nixon and Ronald Reagan. He was gay, and notably, he also mentored Donald Trump, who sought his guidance before Cohn died in 1986 from AIDS. Queerty has a fascinating story on the film's implications. Cohn's legacy, depicted in Tony Kushner's Angels in America, reveals his role as Trump's confidant for 13 years. When asked about Cohn and Trump's media savvy, Tyrnauer noted, quote, "I think it's a skill. They know what they're doing. They're performers. Trump's a performer. Cohn was a performer. And Trump, I believe, learned everything he knows about performing from Roy Cohn."
Testing 1, 2, 3. Last question today. What makes Roy Cohn tick?
Dora Cohn wanted a different son from the son that God gave her. And that imbued him a sense of shame about who he was. His father gave him the language through law and politics to express his shame.
Roy Cohn's contempt for people, his contempt for the law, was so evident on his face that you knew you were in the presence of evil.
He was like a caged animal. If you opened the door, he would come out and get you.
He's this bridge between the legitimate and the illegitimate world.
When John Gotti walked into a bar and shot a guy in the head, Roy managed to get Gotti off.
We have Cohn investigating homosexuals very aggressively.
But he was the one who threw the good parties.
And there were rumors he was picking up male prostitutes.
He could pull strings and bring people together. He could pull strings and make people do things.
I was in his office when Nancy Reagan called and thanked him for getting her husband elected.
Cohn looked at Donald Trump as a protege.
Donald had the money, and Roy had the balls and the shrewdness.
Attack. Don't settle. Don't apologize. Attack.
When you look at Cohn's life, you're shining a light on demagoguery, hypocrisy, and the darkest parts of the American psyche.
According to Roy was responsible for everything important that happened in the United States.
Wow, that trailer just got me signed on. You know what? I think that this is going to be the first in many of these films that are to come out. I know there's another independent film called The Apprentice, which is spotlighting, spotlighting similar stories. So, I think we're just going to learn even more about the evils that are rooted within Donald Trump, that are also just rooted within this system that date back to as long as we just saw in this video.
As the article, as you read it already, that Roy Cohn has a prominent role in Tony Kushner's Angels in America.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that part of it is very much accurate historically. If there's something. I'm not particularly religious, but if there's a Satan inside the LGBTQ community, he's it.
That's
like he's self-loathing to a fault. He's a flamboyant queen who refused to admit that he was dying of AIDS. He tried to use his power to suppress other LGBTQ people, and he backed Ronald Reagan for AZT. Like, I don't know. The man is evil personified, as far as I'm concerned.
I do think, again, it just shows the roots of Donald Trump.
Right.
And let's not forget, when you're, who you associate yourself with and how you've built your career. And he's done that through all the way up to the presidency, of associating with figures that are, I would say, less than savory. And I think in today's world, he's probably at the low of lows. So this is a fascinating story about the roots of what could hopefully never be our president again.
Right.
But gives you a profile in the deception that he's able to enact on the country.
You mentioned voting early. Vote early, just for that, so it's not our president.
This coming
again.
Monday. Let's do it.
You're adding anything? You know what?
You're so cute. Just jump right in, Alex, please.
I'm also the one that leads next.
Very
nice. To make sure
yes.
But anyway,
so nice.
I find the most interesting thing with Trump and this stuff is when he is the performer, that's very clear. But with Roy Cohn, he's not the only eccentric, possibly homosexual that's been around Donald Trump. It's weird that they go around them because, when I think of the current version, the closest to Roy Cohn alive today is Roger Stone. And I will never forget the time when I was working with the Florida Dems and a non-party activist, Twink, showed me a screenshot of Roger Stone's Grindr profile, which it's fascinating to me that these eccentric, weird gay guys or bisexual or queer adjacent, whatever Roger Stone's identifying this week as.
Or it's just a whole...
Yeah. Right.
Do you know
they just circle around Trump, and it's just so bizarre. Or Milo and Lucius something with the twink for Trump. It's a whole little weird queer cabal of crazy, and I'm like, whatever is going on. Maybe it's a sign that he's not a mentally well person. So
I don't know. I had a friend recently. We were out at dinner, and she said, "There he is again." I have seen Roger Stone in a restaurant at dinner time twice in the last month, and it's been really freaky.
What restaurant?
And yucky.
Make sure you don't go.
No, unless
link the restaurant.
Is it on Las Olas? I know he lives nearby.
He's on Las Olas all the time.
Once it was, and the other it was near Lauderdale by the Sea somewhere. I was at first
Called
I
Dirty
didn't think
Dining.
she was serious. I thought she meant somebody that looks like him is here. No, it was him.
Send in the health department.
that's our own local version of Roy Cohn.